Black History of Rock and Roll, Philadelphia punk rock band Pure Hell. A few months ago, AJ Plus did a really cool video on black punk rock, and just, if you guys get a chance, check that out. I'm probably gonna put it in the description on the bottom. But one thing that I feel that they failed at, I hate to use that term, but I'm going to in this context. They didn't really feature Pure Hell. They mentioned them, but they didn't feature this band. Granted, Death, the pre-punk band, uh, that pretty much is now considered the oldest black punk rock, all black punk rock band. But for the longest, no one really knew about them. I'm not saying that people didn't, but a lot of people didn't. And the people that I'm sorry, the band that was probably known for being the first all black punk rock band was Pure Hell. And also, keep in mind this, a lot of people don't know this, but those that know. Pure Hell was a part of all these, punk rock legendary places like CBGB's and Max's Kansas City, the Mud Club. They played all those places with bands like Television and the New York Dolls and all those classic punk rock bands. They were friends with Johnny Thunders and, Jerry Nolan. They were a part of that scene, like seriously, like they were all a part of that whole New York downtown scene. Not only that, they were also a part of the whole UK thing that went down when a lot of those bands from New York were going to the UK. A lot of these UK kids dug those bands. And so, Pure Hell was among those bands that went over there and played. They played with like the UK Subs and all that. They knew like Sid Vicious and The Clash and all those cats, like that. So, I mean, they were part of that movement over there as well, not only that, they played pretty much one of the first punk clubs in LA, which was called The Mask. The Mask was one of the first, if not the first punk club in Los Angeles. I think it was like kind of like in the Hollywood area before. And then I think it changed its place to Santa Monica, but they played that. And I think one of the last gigs, I mean, there's a flyer that if you can find it, originally I wanted to put all this in a slide thing, but it's been kind of hard to do that because I tried to order the pics even in the way that I uploaded them or downloaded them, and it didn't come out that way. So I'm just kind of keeping it on one pixel, and I'll probably slide a few, but I tried to put it in order. It just didn't go. I tried to do the slideshow, but it was just too quick because, I've been doing this for a while. But this band is worth me putting in work, and I hope you guys dig it. They played that place. So they played The Mask. They played all those. They were, a legendary band. They're still around. I'm not going to say were. They are a legendary band. I I'm going to say this, and I've said it before. Unfortunately, Noise Addiction, the album that I'm going to pretty much praise as not only one of the greatest punk rock albums, but also one of the greatest rock and roll albums. If any of you guys are into punk rock or just rock and roll in general, you need to check out Noise Addiction. It's just nonstop, man. Like, it's totally nonstop. These guys put in work like murderers, man. They killed on that. It's like, if you dig the Dead Boys and all that stuff, you'll like that even more. Because it's just so much aggression and power in that, and just going mad, they put in work, man. These guys are not joking. This is Tex Mosley, who was in a band with the drummer Spider from Pure Hell called Bad Actor, but he grew up with the band, and he also is credited to writing No Rules, from what I understand. He was a kid and they all grew up together, but this guy went on to do some great projects himself. If you get a chance, look up Tex Mosley. I'm going to actually do one on him soon too. This is an earlier picture of them as well. Check them out, looking glam tragic. You know, this is how they are now, how they look now. Um, you know, Lenny Still, the glasses, he's the one that I probably talk to the most. Really cool cat. You know, I want to see them live. I've never seen them live, but there's Carlos Kamikaze, aka Carlos Benoit. Benoit, I can't say it. He's a Haitian brother. I think he's Haitian and Puerto Rican or something like that. And then there's Kenny right there. Uh, that's Curtis Knight. Curtis Knight actually was their manager. Curtis Knight was in the band with Jimi Hendrix back in the day. That's Curtis in the middle. Unfortunately, he's the reason that Noise Addiction didn't get released until 30 years later. This is them with Sid Vicious. They also backed up Sid Vicious at Max's Kansas City back in the day. You know, like they were his backing band, you know, at one point. This is Chip right here. Chip is like freaking the punk rock Jimi Hendrix. A lot of people will say that. He's just, man, look at some of the live clips of them going off, man, and look at Chip just killing it. All of them are killing it, but man, it's just like, this is Spider, the drummer. May he rest in peace, a great drummer. You know, he passed, unfortunately. Man, due to cancer. Amazing drummer. He was also in Bad Actor, as I mentioned, with Chuck Mosley. This is them. I think they're in the UK on this pic. Really cool pic. Looking punk rock, man. Straight up punk rock, man. Yep. Killing it. Yeah, this is a later picture of them. I think it's in the 90s. Spider and Stinker. Yep. I think they lived in LA at the time. This is them with Jerry Nolan, you know, formerly of the New York Dolls at that point. Them possibly in the UK, I'm not sure. You know, and them just rocking madness, you know. You guys got to check out that live stuff on them. You know, they were punk rock, man. You know, and they were known to be the first black punk rock band for a long time before people found out about Death. You know, I think this was actually the first pic that I seen of them. And what caught me, because I found out about them before I even heard them. I was tripping out, man. I was in Tower Records. That's how you know how old how old I am and how long ago that was. And I was going through this punk rock book and I saw them. And knowing me, because I always took notes of all the black people that I've seen in rock and roll, I had to find out about this band. It was years before I found any music by them, you know, because I've heard of just albums and all that, but their albums were rare. They only had that one single, with No Rules and These Boots. And although Noise Addiction was recorded, that didn't come out until probably almost 30 years later. This is them with Lemmy from Motorhead, and I think that's Michael Cripps of LA Guns. They recorded this thing called the Black Box Sessions. Yeah, Lemmy was friends with those guys too, and he actually sang backup on I think a few songs of that session as well. You know, great band, man. I mean, Pure Hell deserves a lot more props than they've gotten. I think James Spooner of Afropunk featured them in Afropunk, which was really cool. So that gave them a lot of exposure as well, you know. But these guys, like, seriously, they were innovators, man. I mean, even when you listen to that Noise Addiction album, you'll see how much, like, it's a shame that album wasn't released at that time. You know, the face of punk would have looked a whole lot different in a lot of ways, because that's how lethal that album was, man. I mean, it was hard edge, just straight up like, I mean, man, exciting, chaotic, and just amazing, you know. It's an album that I'm gonna recommend you guys to listen to. And man, Pure Hell, I would say, is not just one of the first black punk bands, but also one of the first bands from Philly, and also even sort of presaged some elements of hardcore in a lot of ways with as fast as they were playing. Bad Brains, another band that I'm going to feature, cited them also as an influence from what some sources have told me, you know. But I'm gonna kind of close out. I hope you guys dig this. It's the Black History of Rock and Roll. Peace to you, and I hope you guys check out Noise Addiction and look. I'm gonna be putting in the description section soon some links that you guys could check out. And AJ, if you're watching this, AJ Plus, I'm not shading on you. I just think that you should have featured this band more. They're very important, and they were very important in punk rock, especially among black people. You know, so I think it was kind of unfair that you didn't you didn't give them, you know, much attention. You know, even though it was cool that you gave the Subject Matter and Death and other bands, but Pure Hell should have got more attention than you gave them. You know, this legendary band seriously is just awesome. Check them out. Noise Addiction is really good. The Black Box section is really cool. You know, it's definitely even more aggressive, but you know, it was just for that time, and they were still rocking Madness. They're still around today. You know, they play live whenever, you know, they play live at times, you know. So hey, check out Pure Hell. Check out specifically Noise Addiction and their 7 inches and all that, like No Rules, and even the Black Box section. All the stuff is good. Straight up. Peace.